Hey guys, just wanted to give you a quick heads up before you get into the video that there's a lot of music in this special video for you that will all be linked in the description below. There's a lot of metal covers as well that I found when trying to put this video together that I also really liked and used in the video. So make sure to look in the description because everything will be linked down there.
Alright, here we are. I'm gonna be a little quieter for this video because it's late and I don't want to be super loud. But I've been wanting to do this for a while, and now that I've finished the game like a month ago, I think, around a month or two ago, is about when I finished this game. I am finally going to do a Dark Souls remastered boss tier list because I love this game. There's a lot of really good monsters, I think, in this game, or a lot of good bosses, but there's also a lot of pretty fucking bad ones. So I'm gonna start with the bosses in the order that I completed them in. And then I'm just gonna talk about them as I go along. Obviously, first of all, we're going to start with Big Boy Asylum Demon. Let me put that down. This guy right here. The Big Boy Chonky Dude. Guy with a dump truck. Asylum Demon. Where should he go? He is the very first boss of the game. You have to kill him. When you first meet him, you don't have a very good weapon. You just have starting equipment. If you don't want this game to be an absolute pain in the ass, you will run past him to an open door where you will get an actual weapon and a shield. You come back around, you drop from on top of him, and you do your little R1 and you do a plunging attack into him. And fuck, it does like almost half his health or more in that fucking plunging attack, and it's fucking ridiculous. And the way it works, it's not an overbearing boss. He's really easy to get around if you pick black fire bombs, or if you're a magic user, it's really easy to keep your distance because you start with soul arrow. But all the other classes too, it's easy because as long as you do it how it teaches you, you look for the easiest way to do it. You don't try to brute force it. Easiest way? Oh, plunging attack. It's an incredible way to hammer in this detail that you need to work smarter sometimes rather than harder against these bosses, because otherwise they have huge health pools and they fucking hit hard. They do. Even fucking this guy, he hit not absurdly hard for a beginning phase boss fight when you have very little health and likely not that much armor. So I would put him at B tier, honestly, for being a good tutorial boss. He's not too challenging, but if you're not careful, he can kill you really easily. And second would obviously be this guy here, the Taurus Demon. God. The Taurus Demon is so good. I love this guy. Taurus Demon is also a really well-designed boss fight because he doesn't appear. He allows you to get your bearings on the He allows you to get your bearings on the arena and the world, and the area, before he jumps out and attacks your ass. And then you also see the ladder with the big ledge on top. You can lead him over and you can do the same thing you did with the Asylum Demon. You fucking drop down on his head and do a fuck ton of damage to him at that point. And at that point you have like lightning resin and stuff like that, so it allows you to combo your resources better. And this is also a think smarter not harder, because if you are always in melee with him and you're not using like every advantage you can, it is so fucking easy to get knocked off the ledge in his boss fight. It sucks. The insta-kill for that fucking sucks. So I'm gonna put him on B tier for sure, but lower on B tier than the Asylum Demon. I added a new tier called Trash, because I know there's definitely some trash fucking bosses here. After the Taurus Demon, once you get to the Undead Burg, there's two ways you can go. You can either go towards Darkroot Garden, and you can go over to the Moonlight Butterfly, or you could go up the chapel and go towards the Gargoyles. I usually opt for the Moonlight Butterfly, because the Moonlight Butterfly is a little easier. I usually play melee characters, so I don't have to do anything in this boss fight. I normally sit back and let Beatrice do everything. I run over to the Moonlight Butterfly very quickly. The Moonlight Butterfly is the first boss that does magic damage, and a fuck ton of it. Really hard by yourself if you don't have good like projectile damage. If you're not waiting until later in the game so you don't have to use a summon, it's almost a necessity to use a summon for this boss. And being in such an early area, I shouldn't be fighting it as early as I do, but I do because Beatrice is so easy to bring along. Beautiful music. A very beautiful boss, but does a fuck ton of damage, and you feel absurdly useless in this fight if you're not later in the game with some good projectile damage. So I'll put it at C tier, because it's not really teaching you anything. I mean, it's kind of teaching you like the importance of summons, but most of the game should be beatable without summons. Summons definitely make bosses easier to a certain extent, but it in this case, for me, more than half the time, all the time, Beatrice is needed because I immediately beeline it to this boss. And then, of course, the Bell Gargoyles is next. I actually really like the Bell Gargoyles. They're a weaker version of Ornstein and Smo. I'm gonna put them at C tier because you don't fight both of them at once. If you were fighting both of them at the same time, it would suck quite a bit more for an early game boss. It would suck quite a bit more as an early game boss. It has a versatile attack pattern. It's not just doing the same thing over and over again. It flies towards you. You could run away, and it gets to you quickly. Fire breath, tail swipe, halberd attack. It has a variety of a moveset, which I like in a boss. Sometimes it can be too much, but I feel like this balances it very well. And there are two summons before this boss that make this fight stupidly easy. Both Lautrec and Solaire are summonable for this boss fight, and it just makes this fight a fucking joke, an absolute joke. I didn't post a large video of this on my channel, but I definitely have it in shorts form, and fuck, I think I labeled the video the Gang Squad, because fuck, we destroyed them. With Solaire, Lautrec, and myself, they were a fucking joke. They're good, I love them, and they're definitely doable without the summons. It just makes the fight a lot harder. Even just bringing Solaire in or just bringing Lautrec in will make the fight leagues easier. Instead of two enemies being locked on you at once, there's someone to divide the attention. And also the tail axe is really cool. If they drop the tail axe, it's a derpy ass weapon, but I love it. I love it a lot. So I gotta put it above the Moonlight Butterfly, because I never use the Moonlight Butterfly's fucking soul stuff. I just fucking eat it. And of course, after the gargoyles comes the infamous Capra Demon. The Capra Demon as an enemy, because they come back in the demon runes along with the Tauros Demon. The Capra Demon as an enemy, as an individual enemy, is not an awful design. In fact, it is a fairly well designed creature, kind of slow, with wide sweeping attacks, but still fairly slow. It's easy to anticipate, and it hurts. It hurts quite a lot, even in just basic enemy mode. The boss itself was the most poorly designed fight, I believe, in the entire game, because the arena is very small, and there's two other dogs there, and you're supposed to fight this at a fairly low level. You kill him and you get the key to the sewers, which leads you to the next boss. So unless you grabbed the master key at the beginning of the game, this is a required boss, which beginning players wouldn't know to do that. They just wouldn't. I mean, I only fought him in my game because I wanted to show him. I fucking hate this guy, though. This guy fucking sucks. A lot. Again, as an enemy, a well-designed enemy, his boss fight, his arena's too small, and the two other little fucking bleed dogs that are there, awful. Hate it. Too much. The Gaping Dragon. This is not the first dragon we see. The first dragon we see is the red one on top of the, right after the Tauros Demon boss fight. Actually, I believe that's a wyvern. I think they call it a drake in the game, but it's a wyvern. That guy's fucking sucks. That guy is awful. But this guy here, Gaping Dragon, not the worst boss fight in the game. Definitely not the worst. He kind of... the reason I hate him so much is when I'm trying to do a fucking pyromancy build, and he lets out his corrosive sludge, and it fucking breaks my pyromancer's flame. Because the pyromancer's flame doesn't have a ton of fucking durability. It either breaks my pyromancer's flame, or my fucking miracle catalyst. I don't know if the sorcerer catalyst is just as weak because I don't fucking use sorceries. Sorceries is for nerds, and I'm not a nerd. The corrosive breath just hurts so damn much. Not hurts, it hurts equipment so damn much, and therefore hurts my soul. Other than that, he's not too crazy of a boss fight unless you go in alone. Even then, going in alone, he is an extremely slow boss unless he starts slamming his stomach into the ground. He is absurdly telegraphed. He jumps up into the air for a while. Just bring lightning resin into his boss fight and you're fucking good. Or just fucking bring in Solaire. Again, Solaire and Lautrec are both available for this boss fight, as well as the gargoyles. It truly does make this fight a joke as well. It just does. It doesn't help. Being able to bring in my fellow Sunbird does not make this fight any better. I mean, yes, being around Solaire is the light of my day and the fucking greatest feeling ever. But that's not good for the boss. It doesn't make the boss any better. That's just Solaire being awesome. Quelaag. Quelaag is next. That's the next one I did. Where are you, Quelaag? Quelaag is here. I am not a huge fan of Blighttown, and I usually opt for the master key so I can entirely skip Blighttown. I know there's a lot of good soul items there. There's a few shields that are decent. The eagle shield, I believe, is there, but you can always backtrack and miss most of the bullshit that's in that area to grab that shield. This place fucking sucks. Blighttown is awful. The area around it is awful. But kind of like the gargoyles and the moonlight butterfly, everything before them has been kind of just raw damage. Hey, we do raw damage, and that's pretty much it. And Chaos Witch Quelaag incorporates a ton of elemental fire damage into her attack. She is the Chaos Witch, so she uses her Chaos Fury sword, which is fucking awesome. It's an awesome weapon for her to use. She has a few swipe attacks with that, and she has like a downward plunge attack that is really good for that. And then not only that, her spider also has some attacks. He curls up and he can launch out like an explosive fire attack that I think does pure fire damage, but I don't know for sure. And then there's also the lava spitting attack, and fuck, the lava spitting attack is insane. I do like this boss a lot. I do really like this boss fight. I don't think it's the best designed boss fight, but I would put it above both of these tutorial bosses in B tier. I would put it at the top of B tier, for sure. It's so much better. The cutscene, first of all, is what does it for me. I love the cutscene. Is like just this intimidating fucking spider coming around the corner, and then a beautiful feminine figure on top, and it's like, oh, this is odd. And then you get into the fight, and she fucking bull rushes you and tries to stab you in the face, and it's like, okay, wait, hold the fuck on. I was not expecting this. It's very unexpected and a good boss fight. It just is a good boss fight. And then after that, I believe I rushed off immediately to see this puppy. I shouldn't do that, but I do that. I get to Sif as early as I can afford the Artorias crest thingy, which I will not dock points. Honestly, it's one of the only ways I can get a challenge out of this fight, because Sif hits kind of hard, Sif is kind of fast, and Sif kind of jumps around a lot. The main reason I died so much in my last playthrough is because I was using a fucking shitty computer, and I was way too low level to be fighting Sif. I just wasn't supposed to be fighting Sif yet. I don't think. I didn't feel prepared. I think you're supposed to fight Sif right before you go take care of the Four Kings. And I choose to do it as early as fucking possible. But I love this boss fight. The cutscene always hurts, but also the fact that they added in an additional cutscene for if you decide to do the DLC first, where Sif recognizes you instead of immediately being aggressive, it's a whole new level to that. Makes it even sadder. Poor puppy. A tier. Oh, and of course, next is Iron Golem. Now, I know earlier I said that the summon does not help the Gaping Dragon. I make a huge exception for this boss, because big boy Iron fucking Tarkus, God, that dude absolutely fucking annihilates the Iron Golem. Fucking wrecks house on the Iron Golem. Does absurd fucking damage to the Iron Golem for no reason. There's no explanation to why Iron Tarkus is this fucking strong. He comes in, beats on the Iron Golem, and leaves without explanation. He's a fucking Chad. And even without that, the Iron Golem is a fairly decent boss fight, other than its grapple, where it has a really high chance to immediately knock you off the edge. The Iron Golem itself is not a overly complicated boss fight, and it is not an overly unfair boss fight. I feel like it is very well balanced as long as you continuously attack the Iron Golem's legs. There's even a chance for him to fall off and fucking die. So the same consequences that there are for you to get grappled, if you hit the Iron Golem's legs enough, there's a chance that he'll just straight up fall off the fucking edge of the boss arena and die. So, it's fine. Even without Iron Tarkus, I would probably put this at the bottom of B. But with Iron Tarkus, I believe this deserves to go into A tier, for sure. And then, right after the Iron Golem, you are in Orlando, the home of the gods, and the boss is the golden duo, Ornstein and Smough. And it's honestly not the best boss fight in the game. It's just iconic. It is the gargoyles, but stronger. There's fucking Smough, who's the slower, chonky one that will slowly catch up to you, and if you let him get close to you, he's gonna hit you real fucking hard. But if you're not paying attention to him, he's gonna fucking charge at you with his warhammer and hit you real fucking hard. Dividing your attention between these two as they are charging at you with everything they've got, and if you try running away, Smough's gonna slowly catch up, but fucking Ornstein's gonna be fucking chucking lightning at you, and then he's gonna do his little fucking dash. He has a quick fucking dash that he uses to get to you as well. Fuck, it's a well-balanced fight, because you cannot just sit back and chuck spells. Getting up in one's face is hard, and it is hard to split them up. Splitting them up is probably your best option, but it is so hard to do that it takes a lot of strategy and a lot of luck. When I first played this game, I had such a hard fucking time with these two. This was the point where I realized, oh, hey, Dark Souls games are kind of hard. Dark Souls games are kind of hard, because even in the playthrough I did on YouTube, there's, on this channel, only one boss before Ornstein and Smough had killed me, and that's Sif. And the only reason Sif killed me was because I had a shitty computer, and I was too underleveled to fight them. I beat Ornstein and Smough on my first try. And that was a huge shock to me. That's at the point where I feel like, okay, I feel like I'm learning this game. I feel like I'm not the worst at this game, because I feel awful at these games, but I felt like I had earned some skill at that point. I'd earned the title Jolly Son Bro. It's a challenge, and because there's 2 phases with completely different playstyles, adapting to it and finally overcoming it feels very good. Feels very good as a gamer. S tier. Okay. So after that, after the Golden Duo, I went back to the Asylum to visit our old friend, Asylum Demon 2.0. I love the Asylum Demon boss fight, but the Asylum Demon boss fight takes out everything I like from the original Asylum. The Stray Demon boss fight takes out everything I originally loved from the Asylum Demon boss fight. It's just bad. You're walking through the ground, you fall, and it fucking takes away like half your health. Fall damage is equivalent to heaviness, and I love using heavy armor in this game, so it just kind of fucking sucks. And then you're immediately tossed in with another version of the Asylum Demon, except his attacks are stronger, his attacks are slightly different, and now he has a fucking AoE Magic Blast thingy, kinda like Chaos Witch Kralik did. He's not doing anything new. He's a complete reskin, barely a reskin, almost exactly the same, of the Asylum Demon. The only redeeming quality about him is that they teased him at the fucking very beginning of the game when you were leaving the room. The fucking starting room. That is the only redeeming quality about him, is that they warned you. And that he's optional. But I'm not going to give him a slide just because he's an optional boss. You know what? Fuck this guy. Trash. Not below Capra Demon. Slightly above Capra Demon. But trash. Because he's an exact copy of the Asylum Demon. Just a bit harder. Just a bit harder. And the fall. The fall really pisses me off. Really pisses me off. And then after I do the Stray Demon, I go back to Anne Orlando. And I murder Guinevere. The Illusion of Guinevere. Who we learn was created by this guy. Known to the community as, apparently, the femboy. The feats. Even though they're snakes. Which is weird. Lore-wise, one of the most interesting bosses we've encountered so far. Because we learn that Gwendolyn is responsible for everything in Anne Orlando being the way it is. Other than the Painted Guardians. The Painted Guardians are real, and the Fire Keeper is real, but everything else is fake. Ornstein and Smo were not real. Guinevere was not real. And there is no sunshine in Anne Orlando. Anne Orlando is still dark, because the gods have abandoned it. And fuck, lore-wise, I think that makes Gwendolyn one of the strongest fucking Dark Souls bosses to hold up an illusion for that long and make illusions that are that strong. Unfortunately, the boss fight doesn't really communicate that. I mean, I guess it does, because the entire way that Gwendolyn does things is through deception and illusion, and you fight Gwendolyn in an ever-growing hallway that never ends, and it's just a huge game of cat and mouse. and it kind of sucks. It's kind of a fucking bad boss. It's kind of a bad boss fight. It's not good. It is not a good boss fight. But I love Gwendolyn as a figure in the lore of Dark Souls. So I'm going to keep him at the top of C tier. Yeah. Just because his lore is so cool. His lore is so deep and intricate and interesting. And you kind of feel bad for him. His lore makes you feel bad for him. Not a lot of bosses will do that. To the Crystal Caves. To the Crystal Caves and fought this Mac Daddy Dragon Lizard. Second dragon boss fight and of the main game. And fuck. I hate this guy. I really hate this guy. The first time you encounter him, he is not a boss fight. His health bar will appear, but you can't hit him. And if you can hit him, doesn't matter because he's immortal. And he's just going to breathe his breath weapon onto you. And if you're lucky, you'll have high curse resistance, and he'll kill you before you get cursed. And if you're unlucky, well, you'll get cursed and die, and your HP will be halved, and you'll be hollowed, and you won't be able to become human until you uncurse yourself. So that's a real fucking kick in the teeth right there. And then you get imprisoned after that. And it sucks. He's a dick. But his actual boss fight, again, if you don't know to look for it, it sucks because he is legitimately immortal, and you have to find his like little crystal ball thing, smash his crystal ball thing, and he's no longer immortal, and then you can get your ass beat by a not immortal dragon. He's not that bad. The crystals suck, and the curse sucks. It sucks having a boss that can do continuous curse damage, and if you don't want to sit there and get blasted by it, you have to go around and get his tentacles and be next to his tentacles that flap around wildly. Why the fuck does a dragon have tentacles? He's so mutated and shit, but it's like, fuck, god damn it, Seath. You are the most disgusting creature alive, and it upsets me. It upsets me. I wanted to get the Moonlight Greatsword just to have it, but I didn't want to deal with his fucking tentacles, and I said, fuck it. I'm just gonna sit here and get blasted by his cursey little breath weapon, and then guess what? The fucking clams can somehow get in there sometimes. The fucking clams waltzed in on me, and they're like, hey, we're here too, and it's like, what the fuck are you doing here, dude? Just die. Go away. I don't want you. I don't want your shit. I don't want your candy. Go away. So that's a thing. He's also cool, I guess. Lore-wise, he is, a cool dude. No, he's not a cool dude. He fucking sucks. He did like the scientific magical experiments on people. The original Guinevere had maidens and stuff. He stole maidens and turned them into like weird tentacle-y snake creatures. And it's fucking weird. He did that. That's pretty fucked up. He also created the Moonlight Butterflies. There's like 4 more Moonlight Butterflies in his crystal caves. He created those. They were also maidens. So yeah. This is like he is the father of sorceries. He created sorceries. So not only is he a filthy magic user, but he's also a perverted little freak. Also, presumed to be the father of Priscilla, which also opens up a bunch of fucking other holes in the weird continuity that is Dark Souls. in general, just a really bad person, and he is the Duke of Lodran, and he lives in the graveyard for sorcerers. If a sorcerer ever wants to go to the Duke's archive to learn better sorceries, you slap that bitch in the face and tell him to go the other way, because he will go there, he will lose his mind, and he will die. Rest in peace, Big Hat Logan. Yeah, not good. I will put him... I'm going to put him above the Moonlight Butterfly because he made the Moonlight Butterfly. Still sucks. Bad dude. Kind of cool boss fight. Not nearly as bad as the Gaping Dragon. Right after that, I tried to fight this guy. Died, so we're going to take him off. And then I went to fight Ceaseless Discharge. Ceaseless Discharge is non-optional. You have to kill Ceaseless Discharge. Because as soon as Ceaseless Discharge dies in the Demon Ruins, a bunch of the lava drops down. Extremely non-hostile. Won't fuck with you until you get to the very end of his boss arena, pick up some clothes, presumably the dead body of his sister. You take her clothes, and then he gets really fucking pissy at you. This guy hurts a lot. If you lead him all the way to the other end of the boss arena, he will jump, because there's a little gap, and he will like latch on to the side, and then you gotta hit his hand a few times and he'll just kind of fall to his death. He's a gimmick fight. Not badly designed. I think he accomplishes what he needed to accomplish. Kind of just like a scare. It's like, oh shit, I fucked up, I shouldn't have grabbed that. And if you're a little too slow, guess what? He hits like a fucking truck. He really hurts. Yeah, he hurts quite a bit. He does what he needs to do. He at least does what he needs to do. Alright. I finally decided to go into the catacombs. The catacombs itself seems like it was designed in a way to be slightly challenging to a later game player. Slightly challenging, not overly challenging. It's not massively crazy. There is a Titanite demon down there. I think there are 2 Black Knights. There's 1 Black Knight for sure. I for sure know that. But for some reason didn't appear when I went down there the first time. And all the bone wheel skeletons, like the bone wheel ones that spin and shit. If you don't have really good armor, or are really good at dodging, or have a really good shield, then you should wait until you're a lower level to deal with that shit. Pinwheel himself is by far the weakest boss in the game. If you find him when you're supposed to, which I believe is early game, it makes the rest of the game quite a bit easier, because he has something called the Rite of Kindling, which allows you to kindle bonfires past the point of 10. You could go up to 15 and 20 Estus flasks with the Rite of Kindling, which is awesome, and it makes the rest of the game a bit easier. But no one does that, as far as I can tell. No one does the catacombs early. I feel like everyone just waits. I do it. I do it every time. Because throughout the rest of the game, you don't need 15 fucking Estises. It's not until I beat Seath when I would normally need 15 Estises. Or even 20 Estises. Just doesn't happen that often. Rarely does. So, a very useful boss. And then also the masks he drops, also very useful. He's not a useless boss. He's just extremely underwhelming. I slap a Sunblade on this because I already fucking have it at this point, and he's dead in 30 seconds. Maybe. If 30 seconds. Back to the demon runes. Look at this one. Why is he so much smaller than the other two? This is the Fire Sage Demon, who is Asylum Demon 3.0. Yes, you heard that right. Another reiteration of the fucking Asylum Demon. He is the exact same fucking thing, except he's red, does fire damage this time, still has the butt bump, and still has the fucking magic explosion thingy that comes out of his staff. You get the demon catalyst from him, which is, yeah, sure, okay, cool. I got a catalyst from this. But guess what? I'm not a nerdy fucking magic user. No, I'm not gonna do that to my guy. He's better than the straight demon still. Because I'm not falling. And there's a chance for him to get stuck in the corner. I like that. Centipede Demon. Centipede Demon. He's not that bad. He's not the worst boss fight for sure. One of the worst designs of arena. Because there's lava everywhere. And the lava does so much fucking damage in this game. It is an insane amount of damage that just fucking racks up and racks. It doesn't matter how high your fucking fire resistance is, because the ring you get from killing this guy is the only thing that allows you to take minimum damage from lava. Otherwise, you're taking way too fucking much damage from lava. And you're in like a little island as soon as you exit the door. I mean, sure, if you're fast enough, you can make it to some of the other areas, but then you're just taking unnecessary damage for him to immediately smack you in the face and probably stop you in the lava, which is how I died the first time I fought him. And I had Solaire with me, so it was a fucking huge waste of humanity, and it kind of sucked for me. It really pissed me off. Other than that, if you kind of just stay on that little island, wait for him to attack, dodge out of the way, and then stab him a few times, it's, again, a little repetitive, much like Gwendolyn's boss is, except he's not interesting. He's just a centipede. He kind of sucks. Not kind of. He majorly sucks. Not a great boss. Nope. I'll put him at the bottom of C. He can stay there. Nah, I feel bad for doing that to Pinwheel. There. Pinwheel, bottom of C. Centipede Demon, top of D. I actually don't think I can do that. I do not think I can put, like, mortally, I cannot put Pinwheel in C tier. Single-handedly, the most disappointing area and disappointing boss in Dark Souls. Lost Izalith, home of this monstrosity. It sucks. It's fucking awful. First of all, Lost Izalith is completely impossible to do unless you equip the charred orange ring, I believe it's called. If you don't equip it, you will die so fucking quick because the entire map is lava. Not the entire map. A huge chunk of the map is lava. And then you go up, and then there's a bunch of fire-breathing fucking demon statues, and then you go up further, and then there's a Witch of Izalith, fucking gets you a Chaos Storm, and then you gotta fucking run all the way back because there's not a bonfire near there, and it just really fucking sucks This really sucks. Los Isolis what? I cannot talk. I have a lisp now for some reason. Lost Isolith as an area sucks. And the Bed of Chaos also really sucks. Because there's 3 stages. There's the first stage, which is mediocre. Doesn't matter. It's kind of not that hard. You do the second stage, or you do the first stage, you go to one of the sides and you kind of just walk in there and chop up some of the sticks and stuff. Boom, cutscene, it gets a little angry, or a little arm pops out, and it's all fiery now. And then you try to run to the other side, and the floor starts collapsing and stuff, and it stabs you, or you fall through the ground, and then you come back. Unless you're good enough to not have to come back, you just get it all on the first try. You come back, and then you go to the other side, and then you roll through the little barrier and you start chopping at the sticks and stuff, and boom, you're going into stage 3 now because another cutscene, and it's even angrier now. It's got 2 fiery arms and a fucking stabby in the ground. Now even more of the ground's falling away, and now there's a huge fucking crater. For the trees that are in the very middle of this bitch, right here, where you gotta jump and you gotta hopefully land on one of the tree branches so you can actually get into this motherfucker and kill the bug that is inside of it. Another gimmick boss fight, because there's no, a lot of this one isn't skill. A lot of it's being lucky enough to not be where the platform's crashing out. And it's really hard to tell where the Bed of Chaos is going to be attacking, because it's attacking from like way above you and clawing down. Why was I looking over there? That's nowhere. I'm fucking losing my mind. I look at you, and it's like attacking from above you and shit. It just kind of sucks. Just a really poorly designed boss fight in general, but I will give it the benefit of the doubt because it does have a large arena. It is a gimmick fight, so I don't... And, okay, hold on. I will say this. If you die, it does not reset the phases. The only boss fight in Dark Souls that does not reset phases. It stays at phase 2, it stays at phase 3, it stays, which makes the boss fight, it's the only thing that saves it. We have the 4 Kings. The 4 Kings is honestly pretty recognized as being one of the most difficult boss fights in the base game, just because if you do not have enough damage to get rid of the first king quickly enough, another king will show up and fucking beat the shit out of you while you're still trying to finish off the other one. If you're not fast enough, when you move on to the second one, a third one's gonna pop up, and then a fourth one will pop up. And you know what's crazy? They're called the 4 Kings, but a 5th one can pop up. And notoriously difficult as well in new game versions, because they are they are extremely resistant to magic damage, I believe, and they also do a lot of magic damage. So being resistant to magic damage is key. I believe they only do raw magic damage with all of their attacks, and it really fucking sucks. But you have to have enough damage to outpace them, because especially if you're going into later new games, this is going to be the most challenging one, because if you do not kill that first king, you are going to be bombarded, and it is going to be the worst day of your fucking life, because you cannot kill any of them, because now there's 5 of them, and they're all trying to eat your little asshole, while you're just trying to stay alive and chug a lug on your fucking little potions. It's okay though. I'll put it at the top of B. Because in normal new game, I do not find them especially difficult in normal noob game. As long as you pop on Havel's armor. I had Havel's armor. I don't know if I had to plus anything. I don't think I did. But Havel's armor, miracle boosting ring, bastard sword, sunlight blade on top of it. Like I said, very susceptible to elemental damages like fire and lightning. That's gonna be the two best damages on them, is fire and lightning. So if you got a chaos weapon, you get in there and you fuck them up with that chaos weapon. It's just not as difficult. Go in there with as high poise as possible. High poise, high HP, and a decent weapon that does elemental damage. And do not roll. Don't even fucking think about it. Just go in there, lock on, stab until you're at a stamina bar, and then keep stabbing. Alright? Fuck dodging. It's not your job to dodge. It's your job to sit there and stab. Fucking throw in the grass crest shield as well, and just go and stab. And that's your only job. That's it. It's your only job. And because they will barely poise break you while you're wearing Havel's armor. You'll be fine. That's it. I finally went back and exacted my revenge on the Sanctuary Guardian. I'm gonna put the Sanctuary Guardian. Oh, I don't know about a high B. I know a high B for sure. I'm gonna put it at the top of B. I feel like this is the very first boss of the DLC. And this is when the FromSoft team was like, okay, yeah, we know we fucked up with the last half of this game. The last half of this game was not everything we wanted it to be. Here is what we could have done. This is how good it could have been with this DLC. And the Sanctuary Guardian is a perfect demonstration of FromSoft's ability to make a boss. This was a huge change in pace compared to the rest of the games. One boss that simultaneously poisons you with their tail attack, headbutts you while you're in front of them, and will also use its wings to do a shockwave and stagger you, and then also shoots lightnings. It has a weaker lightning beam, a stronger lightning beam that it charges up and stuff, and then a rapid launch lightning beam. And it also flies around. It'll fly and jump around and shoot more lightning at you, and it's like, fuck, how many moves does this fucking boss have? And guess what? As many as it wants. It can have all the moves. It's showing you it's not fucking around. This DLC is not here to fuck around. And it was a perfect demonstration of how good they could make a boss. It was a very good boss fight. Not the best boss fight in the game. I still think top of B is good. I'm not a huge fan of this boss. I think it's okay, but it is a very good depiction of what they can do. Painted World. I fucking hate the Painted World. Painted World sucks. I'm gonna put you... Ooh. I don't know if I can put you... I'll put you here. Priscilla. The crossbreed Priscilla. She's cool. Her story's cool. The fact that she got locked away in a painting because her power was so great it threatened the lives of the gods, and the gods were scary and shit. Or were scared and shit. So they locked her away. That's cool and all. Yeah, it's kind of cool. But fuck. She's weak. She is not strong. you get into the boss fight, and she doesn't attack you. She's very non-hostile. But once you attack her, she then becomes hostile, obviously, and she's defending herself. Her scythe, I believe, does 500 bleed when it hits you, which is a lot of bleed. I believe it filled up a little more than half of my bleed bar, which was insane. It's like, fuck, that's a lot of bleed. That really hurts. But her actual damage doesn't hurt that much. The only scary thing about her is that she turns invisible, but also everywhere she walks, she leaves footprints, so it's not hard to find her. And then she becomes uninvisible at some point. And then her health bar disappears when she disappears, and when she reappears, her health bar reappears, and after she reappears, you realize, holy fuck, she's already almost dead. I can't see her, I can't lock onto her, and I am absolutely beating her ass. And she's not fast. She honestly attacks quite slow. Not a hard boss fight. I would put her... This is scaled for later levels because of how much damage she does, and you're not going to defeat her in 30 seconds because she has higher defenses and more HP than Pinwheel, and she turns invisible, so she has things to counteract for how strong the player is at that point in the game. But if she didn't turn invisible, she would be on par with Pinwheel in terms of difficulty. Neither of them is hard. Finally, star of the show. This beautiful boy right here. You get a sneak peek of what this man is capable of through the eyes of Sif. Get a sneak peek. This guy is Sif on steroids. Stronger, faster, crazier, magic. He's just everything. He is, obviously, he's what the DLC is named after. He is a fucking monster in combat. He is very quick. He is very... He pursues you. He jumps at you. He does not let up in his attacks. You have to find the very precious moments of, okay, quick stab here. Okay, heal here. Okay, where, dodge, fuck, block maybe, because if I don't block, it's gonna kill me, and I might have a minute to dodge out of this if I block. It's this one had put me through the ringer when I played. I think it was when I played him on my channel, I had to cut through a lot of the stuff, because if I didn't, it would be an hour-long video of me going in and dying multiple times. So I had to cut up a lot of the stuff and just show all of my deaths. God, he killed me so much. It's such a relief. It's like the same thing with Ornstein and Snow. It's such relief to be like, fucking finally, it's done. Finally, I killed him. But also the arena is awesome. Music is awesome. It's a big, like, Coliseum type arena, and you really do feel like you're a fucking gladiator. You feel like you're fighting a legend, because you are. This is the only warrior to ever fight off the Abyss, other than Chosen Undead, which you later find out he did not fight off the Abyss. It actually overtook him, and that's why you're fighting him, because he's fucking cuckoo bananas. Best boss fight in the entire game. My favorite in the entire game. We had Calamite. the third dragon in the Dark Souls series. I believe, not in the Dark Souls series, but just the first Dark Souls game. This is the third dragon boss, and he is the only one who is an actual ancient dragon. I mean, Seath is also an ancient dragon, but he is called Seath the Scaleless for a reason. This is Calamite, the black dragon, the dragon of calamity. The last surviving ancient dragon. And I love this boss fight because it is teased throughout the DLC. This right here is truly evil. He is the embodiment of calamity. And he gets teased. You see him at a bridge at some point. He comes flying through, lands on a bridge, and kind of stares at you menacingly, like he's gonna come and fuck you up, but then he just flies away. And then you get to his boss arena, which is like a little ravine. And as soon as you get down there, it's like, oh, this huge fucking ravine with all these items down here. Oh, it's really fucking cool down here. Where's Calamite? Where's the boss of this area? It's a fucking, this is a fog wall. And then Calamite flies down, and the dude's breath weapon is so powerful that it coats the entire floor of the fucking ravine, and you just die. You just die because you can't catch him. You cannot beat him while he's flying. He won't land. He's the only flying boss that doesn't land. Even the Moonlight Butterfly landed. So you have to go, and you have to go talk to Hawkeye Guff, and then he shoots Calamite, and you go fight him. And even after being downed with a giant fucking great arrow that keeps him from flying away from you, he is such a fucking pain in the ass because he moves wildly. He moves fucking insanely, like a cat. I think I brought this up in the video. He prances around and hops, like his back like fucking arches like a cat, and the way that he leans down to use his breath weapon, he moves like a fucking demented cat. And it is the most fascinating thing I've seen out of a dragon, especially when looking at Seath the Scaleless and the Gaping Dragon and the drakes that are in the game. Calamite fucking surprised me. It's like, oh my god, you're terrifying. You are genuinely terrifying. You move in such a way that is unpredictable and chaotic, but also just devoid of reason. It's like he's not evil for a reason, and he doesn't hate for a reason. He's like the demons. He just is chaos. He just is chaos and is calamity, and he just destroys to destroy. And it's very easy to tell that by the way that he moves in his boss fight. Such a cool boss. Manus, Father of the Abyss. I'll be honest. I hate this guy. I hate his moveset. I hate everything about him. He's got kind of cool lore. He's a sorcerer and all this shit. And he brought the Abyss forth into Ulasil as like a retribution for their fucking... I believe as a retribution for their thinking that they could create spells that could rival gods and shit like that. I don't know for sure the entire details on this guy. He's kind of cool because he's got his animalist. It entirely looks like an animal, but he's got his animalistic side, represented in the attacks that he does. His animalistic side, and then his casting side. He's still human, and he is still intelligent to be able to cast sorceries, which is a cool detail that I like, even though he acts very animalistic and very wild. That he still carries his staff around and he still casts spells. I think I can only put him here. I do not think I have the heart to put him above the Sanctuary Guardian. The only saving grace he has is that you can summon Sif. And I beat him with Sif. And I was very happy to help Sif get revenge for Artorias. That is the only saving grace that this guy has. Otherwise, I'd be putting him at like the bottom of City. And being able to fight along Sif in that fight makes me unbelievably happy. And getting retribution for Artorias, who didn't deserve his fate, by the way. He was a very good-hearted individual that went into Ulasil to stop the spread of the Abyss for a righteous reason. He wasn't greedy, and he wasn't looking to spread his name and glory, and I mean, that was probably partially the reason, but he also he fought for the people of Ulasil, and when worst came to worst, he fucking took his shield and he put it over Sif to protect Sif. He valued friends more than he valued himself. And I ended up, the only way that I was able to beat Manus was by putting on Havelset. And that's how I know I do not very much like a boss, is when I have to put on a crazy set of armor. Alright, well, fuck what I was doing before. This works great. Okay. I just need to not get overconfident. Damn, Havel's armor makes this shit really fucking easy. I had to put on a crazy set of armor. It was a test run. I put on Havel's set, walked towards Manus, and was like, okay, let's just kind of see how it works. And then it worked incredibly. And then I had to die on purpose so that I could come back with Sif. Because I hadn't summoned Sif. Because I was testing shit out to see what worked. Because he'd killed me a million times and I needed to figure out how the fuck to beat this guy. Lord Souls, I think they were called. The Lord Souls, they were the 4 Lords of Lodran. Second to last boss in the main game. And I saved Nito for last. Because Tomb of the Giants is... I know I said Los Izalith looks the worst, and it does look the worst, but Tomb of the Giants is when Dark Souls literally becomes a horror game for me, and I have extreme anxiety, and you're walking through the dark and you don't know what there is, and the fucking skeleton dogs are the most terrifying thing there is. I hate this guy specifically because of how bad Tomb of the Giants is, but not only that, his boss fight is fucking awful. If you do not have enough damage to get him down quickly, or even like divine damage, when you go into his arena, skeletons pop out of the ground, because you know he's the god of death, and he's a necromancer. Skeletons pop out of the ground, not just normal skeletons. Fucking giant skeletons pop out of the ground as well. That's not good. That's not cool. That's not okay. That's not okay. Giant skeletons, normal skeletons, and then you? What were you thinking? That's just fucked up. And his attacks deal toxic damage. I don't know if it's just the one that comes out of the ground. It might be just the one that comes out of the ground, but that's enough for me to call bullshit. No boss should do toxic. No boss should be doing toxic. That's not okay. Okay? It's not okay. Thankfully, when I fought him in my playthrough, I had just finished the DLC, so I was pretty fucking strong, and I had thrown Sunlight Blade onto my bastard sword, and I wasn't paying attention to a single fucking skeleton that was in that room, and I bum rushed his ass, and I fucking annihilated him. If I can put up a quick clip of just how fucking destroyed he was. Oh, yep. I'm gonna... That's bad. I don't like that. Okay, good thing I backed up a little bit, I guess. Ooh. Oh, it is toxic. Oh, it is toxic. And bleed. Okay, that's nice. Okay, cool. The giant skeletons are here. That's nice. It's okay. I'm fine. It's just Nito. He's a punk-ass little bitch. Fucking four lords my ass, you dumb bitch. God, you're big too. So fucking God, that fight was over so fucking quick. But my heart was racing. I did almost have a panic attack during that boss fight, because it's like, oh fuck, you're starting to sprout up. Oh god, toxic. This isn't good. I need to heal right now, but I also need to keep up my damage output. Fuck, go. And that's like... The boss fight itself is scary, and it's bullshit. But I have to give it some credit, because if a boss fight gives me anxiety, and it's like, I don't know if I'm gonna get this lucky on the next run, so I need to finish it now, I have to give them some props. So I will put him at the top of D tier for just instilling that fear in me. It's like, I will not get this lucky again if I fuck up now. So I have to do this. Last, but certainly not least, I have to put him up here out of obligation. The Lord of Cinder, Lord of Light, God of Gods, Gwyn. The man who developed the lightning technique on his own, and led his people to slay the dragons and conquer land, bringing about the Age of Fire, the Age of Light, but also Holification, the Curse, Undead, and the unending cycle that would forever perpetuate the Undead Curse, is that staving off the light, which doesn't ever truly end until Dark Souls 3. This man is responsible for everything. Just a king atop his throne, realizing that the flame is dying and that something needs to be done about it. So he feeds himself to the flame when all else fails. Hundreds, thousands of years pass, and then the chosen undead arrives. But by then, Gwyn can't speak. Likely can't see or feel, because he's hollow. Only a fraction of who he is and ever was remains. Just his flaming sword by his side. The reason I put this fight in S tier is because you can tell he is the weakest version of himself right now. He is constantly associated with fire, the flame, kindling, but to only use flame when you are the fucking creator of lightning, something that brought down the mightiest species that had ever walked the land, and all you can produce is a flaming blade. All you can do is grab a guy and create a small combustion in your hand. That's all you can do. It's sad. It is so sad. And the fight communicates just how sad it really is, because he is still so powerful. But he is the weakest he has ever been in the moment he dies. And you're barely stronger in most cases. Unless you're grinding your ass away throughout this entire game, you are barely stronger than him in his weakest state. That's something to think about. That's how strong was Gwen? I still want a Dark Souls game, or like an add-on or a DLC that shows like back in time old Lodran, Guinevere, Artorias, Ornstein, Prime, when they were all kind of just knights, when they were all just dudes, when they weren't corrupted, when they weren't illusions, when they weren't hollowed to the brink of fucking collapse and dying because they'd given everything they can and can give nothing else. How strong were they? These are the bosses that I'm so upset that we could not see at the peak of their power, because there's a few iterations of Ornstein throughout the games, but he is never ever referred to as Ornstein. It's always Dragon Slayer armor. It's either iterations of his armor or his exact same armor. Like the Dragon Slayer, the first Dragon Slayer fight in Dark Souls 2 is literally just a copy and paste of the Super Ornstein boss fight. But he's weaker than he would have been in the Illusion. So there's no way that that's actually Ornstein. It can't be Ornstein. Because Ornstein was just a guy, I think. I think Ornstein was just a guy. Ornstein wasn't a god. So he couldn't have survived that long. He couldn't have survived through the fall of Lodran, the rise, and then fall of Drenglak. There's no way Ornstein, the original Ornstein, had survived that long. That's just someone wearing his armor. I'm so curious about these guys. So curious. I need to see these three in their prime. Oh, it would be so fucking cool. Or these four, I guess. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.